Hello, I wanted to make a video showing one way that I have found to use an LLM in a creative capacity. I imagine many will just claim that this is a collaborative thing, which there might be some merit to that particular statement this time when it comes to using AI. But at the same time, when it comes to using AI as a creative outlet, I have always been of the belief that if you are trying to use it as an artistic expression, you as a human is the one that is the quality control and the final say as to what you believe is the final product. So with that, I had a back and forth with Grok trying to make a LLM. I mean, not, excuse me, trying to make a lorebook for something that I got inspired by with messing with a bot on a popular website, and I wanted to expand upon what there can be with that particular bot. So the start of it was uh, a bit hit and miss, but eventually, when I got it going, it went going, and I gave a lot of commentary as to the stuff and whatnot. And so, with that, I hope that you end up enjoying that. And if people are interested, I am thinking about giving the lore book that I ended up making to Notebook LM and seeing what kind of audio overview it might be able to make. And if that is something that is interesting, I may go about doing that and then posting it online somewhere for people to listen to. I don't know the great place to post it. Artplake is a place possibly. I could post it on YouTube too, but um, it's audio, so I got to do stuff. Uh, if somebody is interested, you can always help me as to a place that might be most appropriate for that and all of that. So, with that, I hope that you enjoy my back and forth with Grok putting together this workbook. Okay, mm, let's get this started. Okay. I want to make a lore book for Silly Tavern, and I have provided a text document that explains how one goes about doing that and how to make the different entries for a lore book. Right. Because this is a lore book based being used for a fictional thing, information does not have to be exactly scientific scientific or realistic to a point. The lore book that I want to make is one about anthropomorphic bears and trying to figure out what the biology and cultural structure of their civilization may be. I will be speaking from the perspective of a ordinary human that does not know anything about these anthropomorphic bears. Maybe I should have that. Oh, okay. Let's add a little bit because it might not be a bad idea for this to be shown. Window, capture, new capture. Yep, that. I guess we can put it right here. That should work. For now, what happens when I bring it down? Does it? Oh, I guess it stays. Okay, I'm just going to assume that's going to be working. We will find out later. Oh, wrong way. You will be taking up the role of an individual that is an expert, expert to the information I am asking. Because this is a lore book that I am making, I may periodically break character and ask for revisions and rewrites. Of the different entries. Uh, I may also demand particular information to be within a entry if I believe strongly enough that the information I want to add is more to my vision with the different entries. Below, I will add some starting information that we can use to build upon to make the lore book with. So with that, I have a character sheet of a anthropomorphic bear that can be used as some sort of starting point for the lore book. Okay. Mm. Excuse me. Goodness, I'm going to probably be burping quite a bit throughout this. Let's make one more line. I need to make sure I have dragon turned off while I'm doing this stuff. Let's make sure that there isn't any other additional info that maybe I would use. That's about that. That is about that. We are just wanting information about the bears. I did see that there was a lorebook already made about demi-human bears. So with that, it, if you, I'm assuming that means the lorebook is about uh, the lorebook is about bears that have, well, I shouldn't say bears. That particular lorebook is just mostly human body, but with some bear features. Just think of the classic. Um, I was going to say Nekomimi, but that's not right. I don't know the right word, but the animal ear type thing that you see often. So just think of, a human that might have a tail, some bear ears, um, and maybe a few other little features, but for the most part, it just looks like a human with added features. And I'm assuming that's what that one means. But this particular lore book is supposed to be about anthropomorphic bears. So, think of the bears that you would see furries either dressing up as or making for art. I am wanting to try to make a lore book for that. So, I got the information. So now we can go about, I can copy and paste this. Oh, right, I need to add the thing. And then, is it right here? Yes, it's right here. Okay. So that, and then I guess we just hit go. Ah, what? Okay. I have a little bit of trouble. I need to fix. Goodness, I was already a bit nervous about doing this. Nope, because of the text encoding. I thought I had it saved as a plain text file. Okay. Save as text document. No. Ah, fine. I can just copy and paste the text. I'll just do that. That'll be the easiest way to do it. Just copy and paste the text, and that will do the trick. I think I had to do that the last time for something similar. So that, add text context, that paste the text, and now we will paste this text here, and hopefully it will do something now. Yeah, it to be doing something. Alrighty. I would like it to be a. This isn't quite what I was wanting. I mean, there's a lot of things here, but I want. No, this is not what I wanted. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to start it anew. Oh well. Mm, I was not thinking I would have such a rough start to this. Mm, mm. Okay, we may need to add some stuff to this. Mm. I would like the output of the lore book to be a text document. Mm, mm. Okay, well, I want to use this, but I feel like this text that I added is not helping. So we'll just do the method of simple method of just asking questions and going from there. So, ah, mm, ah, mm. Okay, let's refine my prompt so that I can hopefully do this. Mm. After I input my prompt, I do not want a ready to use lorebook that I can just copy and paste. The point of this is for me to ask questions and that each entry is built upon by the questions that I ask and the clarifications that may be given with my questions. The different entries should be based off of the back and forth. Mm. Okay, let's just go with this and see what happens. I think my trouble is that I always have bad luck when I go about trying to do stuff like this on camera. They tend to be able to just do this stuff just fine by myself. By myself when I'm not trying to do anything cool. Okay. Mm, that's fine. It can name itself if it wants to. Good. Now, I think we can finally start the question and answer that I am wanting to do. Okay. um. Oh, yeah, that works. Mm-hmm. Nice. And eventually, I will ask Grok to make all of this into a text document. Okay, making sure that the blue line thingy didn't show up. Okay, so okay, so now let's go about forming my first question. I think one of the first questions that needs to be asked is, what does an ordinary anthropomorphic bear look like? Oh, oh, let's close this one. I don't need that one up. Because of stuff. I use Dragon Natural Speaking. Hmm. That. Okay. I have. I have some text that I can provide of one account of an individual anthropomorphic bear, but I do not know if these particular features may be the norm and how far the features may deviate from what might be average. Now I can finally use the character that prompted me to do this. And I'm only going to be able to use parts of it. So we'll go with this. That will be part of it. Bum, bum, bum. That. Mm, mm, mm. We'll go with this bit of text. And then we will use this. And that might be all the features, all the text that I can copy and paste that is about this character's body that I found. And then we can go from there. Okay. So, mm, so, mm, mm. So let's see what it comes up. Oh, is that what we're going to call them? I mean, that's fine. Yep, yep, that's fine. Okay, so let's see what information it was able to give. That might be interesting. Um, Average adult, talking about that. Um, Commonly called bears by humans. I will change that, but that will be neater. Well, actually, that might be a good word to use. I don't know. Tone down when I'm watching a bit. Ranging from pale green, which might be like polar bears, Mm. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We will do that stuff. Uh, okay, so. Mm, mm, okay. Mm. Let's get a bit more. Uh, I am curious about the sexual dimorphism between male and female. We would just use this one. Excuse me. Mm, mm. Does the sexual dimorphism follow closely to what we see in off bears? Mm, okay. Mm. 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 Big rugged males and big curvy females. I don't know if I like that, but let's go with that. And the extreme size depends you see in pommel or grizzly bears. I see. Mm. Um, so, sexual dimorphism, these are not. When I go to make an entry, I'll just take that out. Maybe. I don't know. Um, Violet extreme. Females. Wider hips, fuller hips. Let's turn that off. I don't know. I have a feeling those mean the same thing. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not the best when it comes to being descriptive. Large and more pronounced. Full covered breast. Rounder features. Average healthy male. Outweighs the average adult. That makes sense. Both sexes are heavily muscular. Yeah. The bears. That makes sense. Females are not delicate by comparison. I think I read that right. Facial full patterns, mainly all size, but nothing that prevents non-trained human from occasionally mistaking a tall female for okay. When he means untrained, he means one that has not been able to we didn't become race blind. Is that the term used? Um, right. Strength differ exists. Males can typically deadlift roughly, but a fit female can still outpower most any human. Yes, I like that. I that's how I would want it to be. That they are just stronger. Mm, okay, so mm, mm, mm. I am curious about the different subspecies or races or races as humans would describe themselves. We know that there are different kinds of bears, So I am curious as to the different kinds of. Oh, right, we're keeping that name. So I need this. Ah. Hmm. I imagine that because they are intelligent, the different subspecies may not be the same as we would think of them when it comes to. By that I mean the different bears on have adapted to different regions, but with these oh, oh, being like humans, they are able to, I imagine, adapt to the environment to their liking instead of the other way around, like we see with ordinary animals. I believe it may have already been hinted to. I believe it had already been mentioned that there are different fur colors, but there was no distinction as to if these different colors mean. Mm, mm, I need to focus a bit. I need to pause when I'm what I was watching on the side. Excuse me. Denote different races of. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, let's see what comes up. Ah, mm, yes, right. I mean, humans are one biological species, but as we denote, we call the different ethnicities or other things as races when there's just one human race, and with that, everything is truly. Oh, I need to turn natural dragons off. So with that, goodness, I need to turn that off. I need to focus. um, yes, as I was trying to say, there's only one human race, and even if we use race as a way to denote the different ways that people look, that is still technically more the ethnic makeup of an individual or something like that. So it makes sense that it would say something like that and to breed freely. I mean, as an American, if I want to make babies with somebody else that's in the Far East or in India or, some other place where they don't look like me, um, we're all humans, so, we can do that. Um, or race or subspecies are actually five. Ooh, I like this. Five of them that still carry distinct physical packages. Saying it physical packages is weird, but you know, same difference with humans and very mild genetic. I don't know that word. These actually, I don't know what this word is, but I'm assuming it's a way to describe race or subspecies. No, I shouldn't say subspecies, but race. But in a different way, without in pre-civilization times, when different populations were geographically isolated, just like humans, but for thousands of years they have mixed. So pure are now rare. I mean, I don't think the pure thing should be rare. Um, because unlike I don't know how do I say it? Because like with humans, there are pure Japanese people, there are pure Chinese people, or at least of the different ethnicities within that group. Um, so maybe mm, maybe it is right to say that there's rare because as far as I know, I believe scientifically every human is like 63 times removed cousins, something like that. Um, so okay, but let's see what they have. The five. Okay, they're going to be here, which I um not great at reading. I can't say all of them, sadly. I wish I could. Um, but okay. So, uh, polar bear, brown bear, white polo panda. We got pandas. I was not expecting that. Grizzly. I don't know that one. Spirit bear. That just sounds like an Indian type thing. Sun bear. I know about those. Moon bears. Man. That makes sense. Bear type. Full color. Some of these keywords I will take out because I don't know if they help. Maybe, or at least the spirit bear. Because maybe if this is attached to a character, they may say something about grizzly or polar bear, panda, black bear, brown bear. Those sound stuff. Bear race subspecies, that's probably something somebody would say. Bear clan, kind, type. Maybe not full color, but then again, that might help if somebody builds a character off of this board book. Okay, let's read what it sounds. Let's read what it found. Okay. Why are they called spirit bears? That sounds or whatever. Okay, so these are the brown bears. Oh, so these are like the simplified human names. Um, think of like how the covenant is, where all of them have different. They actually have you know, actual species names, but but humans just call them, simple things like jackals, grunts, gleets, brutes, prophets, but they all actually have scientific type names. Okay, so, most common, interesting, fall in every shade, interesting, largest ones, interesting, broadest shoulders, pronounced dorsal hump of muscles. I don't know what that means. They look like grizzlies. Sable, smaller, leaner, solid black, dark chocolate, sometimes blue or blue tint, it seems. Agile climbers, slightly longer tails, often have white or cream Firstly, are these like the pandas? Maybe not. Arctics, this is the polar bear ones, obviously. White, pale, year-round, tallest, thickest, fat, pale blue, gray, polar bears. Where's the pandas? Pandas right here. But what's this thing? I don't know. Cream white on any background, mostly consisted by many clans. White fold individuals are more likely to become shamans. Oh, so these are like the tribal. Interesting. I was thinking that it was under the assumption that this is more modern day at least, but that's okay. Jade pandas, mostly from the far southeast, black and white. Yep, pandas. Okay. The full color can technically appear in any due to mixing, but the average rates are what, and yes, will associate when they meet a stranger. Clan identity and family name usually matter far more. Oh, that was something that I was going to eventually ask, but for right now, I'm just trying to get some of the basic biology type stuff down. Ah, okay. Hmm. Eventually, I'll ask some other questions that are a bit more, uh, that are a bit more um, risque. Although I think I'm going to be starting that now because still need to know about biology, and one of the important things to know about biology when it comes to creatures is how do they make babies? So let's ask about how they go about making babies. Not the actual positions they may take, but gestation and whatnot. Hmm. Okay, so I believe one of the important things to know about when it comes to understanding a other creature, especially one that is sentient and able to be interacted with, just like any other sentient being, that is how they go about and say how. That is about the gestation of making babies. Because of the way they look, it would be assumed that they meet all the criteria of being a mammal, just like oh, mammal, just like bears from, and I guess even how humans are classified the same way. I am curious if the gestation period and the of mm, ah, are any different than bears from Earth. Uh, let's go with this and see what kind of information it gives me. One thing I should say, I don't know anything about the gestation time of um, bears Uh, yeah, of bears in general. Mm, yep, live both mammary glands. Yep, reproductive. Yeah, I mean, basically, they're just fully bears. I fully with a much slower life history, actually, than though it has shifted dramatically towards the human end of the spectrum. So comparable to 9 months, I guess. Right. So pregnancy, bear pregnancy, gestation, cubs, right. Have a gestation period of 9 months, and that's right. I mean, I imagine a lot of people that want to make a lore book about an anthropomorphic animal will just stick with 9 months, or they will use the gestation period that is commonly known for, or the egg hatching period that is known for the animal for the lore book. Almost identical to humans and far longer than the. I didn't know that. They almost always give birth to a single cub. Yeah, interesting. Twins occur in only 4%. I don't know what the rate of twins are with humans. Now considered major major event requiring, okay, they celebrate births, so they are pro life. You know, people may not like that, but that's are extremely rare, historically viewed as an omen. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. There is no delayed impact, like in, I don't know what delayed implementation. I don't know what that means. Once conceived once conception occurs, development proceeds. I think it's just describing, the more human factor where eggs fertilized, it implants itself on the uterus wall. I think that's what it does. And then from there, baby and whatnot comes about. I don't know what delayed thingy is implant. Does that mean that the egg kind of wanders around or stays, the fertilized egg stays in the womb of the bear for a bit longer before it attaches to the uterus wall of the bear? Okay. Females experience a pronounced baby bump within the fifth month. You know, I guess women, I guess the same cub is born full, eyes closed and able to crawl within hours. That's different, though it may remain dependent on milk care for, oh, that's longer. Because don't babies stop drinking breast milk around like 2 or 1, somewhere in between there, I think. Care can conceive year round. There's only a mild spring, no, mid, I don't know. Lady Pink and some northern clans. Okay, so let's ask some cultural questions now, because there have been things brought about. Um, mm, mm, okay, so, um, mm, from the information given, excuse me, of child rearing, I think that's right, it would be assumed that generally, mm, nope, I should have guessed. Mm, mm, seem to have a more pro-life, pro-natalist, natalist. I can't say it right. Let me uh, see if I can't figure out this spelling from someplace else. Um, I want this, and I will quickly type it into a search engine, or at least attempt to, and see from there if I'm not able to then get the correct spelling. I think I spelled pro wrong. Let's just say pro baby in the Google search, and then see if that comes up. Um, no, I didn't misspell it. Mm. Okay, let's just ask Google a question and see if it can give me the correct spelling. What would somebody be called if they are pro child rearing? Oh, that's not what I was thinking of, but I might use that. But I thought that the term was natalist. Oh, wait. I think, is that the word? Ah, okay. I think I found it. Natalism is the belief that having children is important and beneficial. Yes. That is probably the thing to use. Okay. Then some humans, maybe. Mm, uh, okay. Let's continue writing the thing. You had mentioned that the children are celebrated when they are born, but I imagine that it may not be something like a grand festival because I imagine just like with humans, babies are born almost every day or something like that. I would not be surprised if there was some sort of fertility festival, at least in some places, during the mating season that you had mentioned. The other thing I would like some clarification on is what you mean by of a omen. Oh, I need to find that word so I can get it spelled right. Um, if there are triplets happen to be born. Mm, um, any other things I can think to ask? Mm, mm, mm. Ah, right. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, right. Some of the other information that was given before suggests that maybe the growth of development is a bit slower. than it is with humans. You had also mentioned that these babies rely on breast milk for about 3 to 4 years, which is longer than human babies, I believe, are normally on breast milk. To me, this might suggest a slower rate of maturity, or that the baby years takes up a bit more than a human does. Uh, some other questions that might be interesting. Childhood development is probably a good thing. I will ask about the meaning rituals a bit later. A strong leaderist, family oriented. Yeah, that I'm not surprised of. Oh, one thing I've wanted to ask when it came to this, because I thought that it would, be something that might be interesting, is the Papa Bear and Mama Bear mentality that is often used to describe humans at times. How does that kind of mentality or expression fits onto the way um, they act? Mm. You're reading the patterns exactly right. A strong natalist, family-oriented, and the children mature noticeably more slowly than humans. Let me turn this all into. It doesn't have to be okay. Good, 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 good. Because I was like, it doesn't have to be just one. And I'm probably going to at the end ask it to compile everything into a text file, and then from there take those entries and subdivide them if it makes sense. Okay, so child willing and slow maturity. Maybe these two should stay together. Cubs are born small. I don't think that's. Actually, no. These might be bigger than normal than humans. I don't know. I think mom said. I think my mom said that I was like 6 pounds something. If you're, yeah, but already full and capable to crawl, they nurse exclusively for 2 years and continue partial breastfeeding until, okay, far longer than human norms. Physical and cognitive maturity is slower than in humans. Well, cubs walk comfortably at 2 to 3, but already crawling, so I guess that makes sense. Although I think humans do this too. Speak in full sentences around 5 to 6, reach puberty, that's different, and are not considered fully adults until 25 to 30. I see. A 10-year-old cub is roughly equivalent in size and emotional maturity to a 6 to 7 human child. This extended childhood is culturally celebrated. Makes sense. They love families. Hmm. Families with nursing cubs receive community support and and wearing um, commencements. I don't think I read that right. At 3 to 4, important milestones are completed by festivals and gift giving triplets as an omen. This was one that I was curious about. I would like to know about potential fertility festivals, though. Uh, the both are triplets, 3 cubs, one. Yes, right. I would not be surprised if it just pulled that from human numbers. But why not? And is universally regarded as a powerful omen. I guess I should have asked if that meant good, because I think there's such things as good omens. We just, at least I associate the word omen with bad. Most clans interpret it as a sign of coming plenty or major change. Okay. Excuse me. Some northern traditions, my tongue, see it as foretelling war. I mean, there has been a saying that I have heard ever since I was young that if there are a lot of men born within a family, some people see it as an omen for war to come. Others as the arrival of future great shamans. The mother of triplets and a cub are given lifelong honorary status. That's nice. Extra land protective, but clans twins are merely very lucky and warrant a large celebration, but triplets trigger weeks long festivals. Interesting. Ritual tattooing of the parents and even a permanent change in the family's surname. Ooh, that's interesting. Um, this I am definitely going to have to go back and get some of these other little notes and turn them into entries as well, because this is probably this part right here. It's probably something that should be turned into an entry as well. Um, mm, okay, so well, actually, let's just ask it. Um, mm, mm. 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 I would like to know more about the fertility festival. Mm. It seems to be a point that should be given a entry as well, because it is a cultural event. I am curious about when it comes to this clan or tribe mentality that has been brought up several times. By that I mean I am curious if the clan is more simply a nation or a country, collection of countries that embody the clan identity, much like we see with at least Islamic countries, where they seem to share. mm, Along with that, it may be good to know if there are even further more, that's the one I'm looking for, divisions into smaller groups like tribes. And along with that, it could be asked if H5 is more simply just a tribe, town, city, or village type setup. Mm, mm. I feel like that I like this. I don't want to subdivide it because now I'm thinking, right. Hmm. Another thing to mention is that I believe that may need some more clarification is since there are mentions of shaman, is it common that these mm, still have actual tribes that as one would think of Native Americans a long time ago. Along with that, it should also be asked. Hmm, that seems to be a way I like to say that. Oh well. Hmm. Because there are shamans, it makes me believe that there are superstitions and tribal practices that many are taken, even those that may be considered modern. Like when I mean by of modern, I mean what I mean by of modern is how one looks at the average American city. Mm, mm. Since we had just discussed child rearing and gestation, it may be good to know how they go about finding mates for one another. If they are a more modern, then it would be assumed that the way they go about it is normal relatively to if a human was to look at it. This is a lot more than what I thought I would end up asking. Okay. Let's see what comes up. Four distinct but interconnected topics. I'll give you four clean, ready to use. Good, good, good. Okay, so, the festival itself. Let's see. It happened in spring, a mating season, thawing. Yeah, I mean spring. That is after winter. So, yeah. Bear courting, bear wrestling. Ah, well, why did they use the term bear wrestling? But okay. Okay, the Thawing Festival, that sounds like a cool name, is the largest annual festival in these two clans, held for 1 week. So I guess you can think of it a bit like Golden Week, just maybe not. Thanksgiving Week's probably better description if you're American. Celebrates fertility, strength, community with bonfires. Sounds fun. honey and wine. I guess that's something that needs to be asked. Is, you know, oh wait, it says honey wine. I think that's, wine from honey. Public wrestling tournaments, male and female divisions. I was not expecting that, but sounds interesting. Circle dances, now after the dawn, very open courtships. Unattractive adults wear colorful ribbons in their manes, or they'll wrestle to. Yeah, yeah. Just kind of feels like making life bonds begin there. Notable baby booms. That makes sense. Arctic lands hold a midwinter. So let's ask about that one. Mm. 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 I guess now I would need to ask about, since it seems to be the equivalent to the, but from a different clan. So they may have different cultural practices when it comes to celebrating the fertility. Oh, my nose is getting stuffed up. Fertility of their people. Right? I'm not done. I need to read the other stuff and maybe come up with some more questions. Okay. Right. So about the human northern states. I don't know what they mean by northern states, like northern states in America. I don't know. They are roughly worth each confirming thousands of square meters, containing millions of citizens. Within a clan exists dozens or hundreds of tribes. That makes sense. I mean, you could even just simply say that a tribe is a family of sorts. Then kinship networks, bears who share a surname prefix. Okay, a tribe usually fills one large city, full, fast, or similar small ones. Individual settlements are simply called holdfast towns or villages, depending on the size, capital, powerful. Okay, for example, is the metropolis up there with that many people, which is a lot. Skyscrapers that imply modern stuff. Carved timber and stone. Maybe it's not as modern as what I thought. Okay, so shamans and continued spiritual traditions. Even the most modern skyscraper cities, okay. Many clans maintain active shamans called spirit speakers or root walkers. Okay, they are not primal, primitive. Yeah, primitive. Sorry, primitive. I am having trouble speaking. Primitive witch doctors. And they are respected professionals who undergo 15 years of training, often hold a university degree, okay, and serve as counselor healers. I mean, that makes sense. Most urban ones visit a shaman at least once a year for blessings. So it kind of feels a bit like Shinto. Okay, so, mm, okay, so, uh, mm, I would like some more clarification when it comes to the way a shaman is viewed within the community. At the moment, with what has been given, it sounds as if they take on the religious aspects of shaman have more of the feel of a Shinto shrine. By that I mean many Japanese individuals will say that they are Shinto, but that is more about keeping cultural identity or practice. Even the act of visiting a Shinto shrine and praying is the same difference. It does seem that these shaman do serve more than just a spiritual leftover, because they act as counselors and healers. I need to. Okay, let's just use these. Mm. Oh, my stomach's making noises. I might need to eat something. Excuse me. I've been bumping a lot and I don't know why. Mm. Mm. The point act of being a media um, may be viewed by many as non-scientific, because non-scientific. In other words, it may be fair to say that there are those that would fall into the category of being atheist. Even with that being so, they may still see the value with this position, even if it is simply that they are good for counseling and healing. I guess along with that, it should be asked if the healing practices are seen as more of a tribal type healing and not go to the doctor or hospital type healing. In other words, I'm saying it doesn't seem that these individuals give medication from a pharmacy or perform surgery. They are somebody that an individual can talk to for counseling or other subjects that one may need to confide within somebody else for. Okay, that was a lot. Let's read the quick one now. Meeting thingy, because that's something. Okay, so bear dating, courtship, marriage. What? Okay, so practice several monogamy. Monogamy. I mean, makes sense. Lifelong bonds, marriage in cities, and adults meet through work, universities, dating apps, honey match. I always like how the AI comes up with names for stuff when they don't have names. And I know that at times people don't like the um the Hulu, the Hulu. the hallucinations that AI comes up with at times. But for this kind of creative way of using AI to flesh something out, or to yeah, to flesh something out, to do stuff. Uh, in most clans I see, I should ask about the homosexual and polycule type stuff. I not a fan of that, but if I'm going to say that there are atheists, if I'm going to propose that there are atheist people, then there are going to be people that do not um, how do I say that, do not follow what they would consider traditional within this setting as well. And that would include safe sex and polycules. Okay, so I didn't. It's currently the most popular hobby clubs, festivals, rural bales still rely heavily on potential introductions and clan matchmaking. Public displays of affection are common and encouraged. Oh, that's cute. I mean, yeah, that's cute. Uh, Maybe as a human, it would be really weird to just see a whole bunch of bears, anthropomorphic bears, you know, kissing and whatnot. There's definitely makeout spots, but it seems more likely that, how do I say, that you'll see a few bears, you'll see a few of these anthropomorphic bears just, you know, giving some pecks on the cheek and hugging and whatnot. Once a couple declared to bond, they undergo a simple but emotional, intense ceremony in which both parents or partners carve matching runes into each other's soul shoulder. That uh, that sounds painful. I think I need clarification on that, because that sounds like it hurts. These scars. Oh, okay, those scars. Uh, that sounds painful. One would fight for life. I mean, there's supposed to be a lifelong bond, so I get it. Divorce exists, but is rare and requires a shamanistic meditation. Same-sex bonds and polycule are fully accepted in most lands. I see. So, I should ask about the ritual scarring. Okay, so, uh, when it comes to the wedding ceremony, you had made mention that there is ritualistic scarring on each other of a matching symbol to show that they are together, in the sense that humans in many places wear matching wedding bands to say so. With that, as a human, the question needs to be asked, is this procedure done in a way that a human would, mm, if this is something that would be painful for them to do to one another, because this is, as described, scarring each other's bodies. And as we know, scars are deep wounds, and deep wounds are painful. You had mentioned non-traditional family or partner setups. So I would imagine that, just like with humans, these kinds of alternative, non-traditional pairings would not be necessarily common for the population, even if they seem to be accepted by most individuals. Ah, mm, mm. Going back to one of the points that I had asked earlier about how modern they are, it may be good to denote what the current technological level of them seem to be, since they do seem to use apps to find one another for dating. It seems that they are technologically the same as what I guess America has been for a while now, since the smartphones have become a everyday requirement for a living. Uh, I think I read. I think that's right. I've never used that before. Oh, excuse me. I might have to go and use the restroom. I think there's a pause function. I'm going to probably use the pause function in a bit when I feel like I can't hold it anymore, and then come back. So you may eventually see a weird jump cut looking thing because I paused and stopped the recording. Okay, so you have 5 new entries ready to import. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so the Arctic clans hold fast. The equivalent fertility festival is the Long Night's Warmth. I guess that makes sense because you need to warm each other up when it's cold. Held for 10 days around the winter solstice when food stores are at their peak and the aurora is brightest. Cute. It's brightest. Instead of outdoor bonfires, clans gather inside vast, heated long halls lit by whale oil. Okay. Whale oil isn't used anymore, but that's interesting. And glowing ice sculptures, that's cool. Ice wrestling, that doesn't sound great. Storytelling, that sounds nice. Community saunas, that sounds enjoyable. Seeing a whole bunch of other naked people. The Aurora Dance, on where adults wear glowing body paint. Interesting. Though outside, that begins to say baby bump type thing. Okay, so role and perception of shamans in daily life. Okay, shamans occupy a respected position similar to a combined therapist, family counselor, judge. Makes sense. That's what I was trying to get at. And community priest, even completely atheist or scientifically minded ones visit them regularly for mental health counseling. Makes sense. Just because your counselor may be religious of some sort, that does not mean that the counseling that they can give, even with having a religious background and even with it creeping into the counseling, does not mean that it is a bad thing. Conflicted meditation and life cycle rituals, that sounds odd, but okay. A modern city bear might see a hospital doctor for a broken leg and a shaman the next day for grief counseling. That makes sense. Or a blessing against bad dreams. Some shamanistic. Shamanistic training, I don't know why I feel like reading the whole thing, but I do. Includes both spiritual disciplines and accredited coursework in psychotherapy. I think I read that right. And herbal something. Many urban shamans carry both a spirit rattle and a government issued medical license. I see. So they can give you some stuff. Okay, this was the one I was kind of interested about because, you know, it sounds like it hurts. Got a burp again. Excuse me. Okay, so during the Life One bonding ceremony, each uses a heated obsidian or how simple blade to carve a matching rune or personal symbol into the thick muscle. The cut is deep. Obviously, it needs to scar, but is not but not to cause serious injury. Local anesthesia and healing slaves are commonly used, making the pain intense but brief. I mean, I guess it is a wedding, so it makes sense that stuff needs to be intense, at least for that moment or whatnot. Most describe it as a sharp bomb for 30 seconds. 30 seconds of just being bombed. Oh, sounds like that would hurt. The mutual scoring is seen as the ultimate act of trust and equality. I mark you forever, and I let you mark me. I mean, that makes sense. Scars are displayed proudly and often incorporate into jewelry or clothing designs. That sounds cute. Okay, so the non-traditional type stuff. Okay, so same-sex bonds and polycule usually whatever rarely are fully fledged and socially accepted in every clan that has contact with humans. So it is a human ideal. Interesting. That is probably something that needs to be plugged into when it comes to the mixing of cultural ideals between humans and them. And then from there, I can maybe finally ask some of the more interesting questions that might be more relevant if somebody wants to use, excuse me, if somebody wants to use this for a character. They remain statically uncommon, which makes sense of all bonded partnerships, considering um, concentrated in large cities and amongst younger generations. So, you know, sounds like people that have more left thinking ideals. Um, ritual rural traditionalists may raise a brow, but will not interfere, saying the hive is stronger for many kinds of honey. Interesting. Um, still going back to the bears love honey thing, because there was a mention of honey wine. So that's probably something that needs to be asked eventually is, you know, how do I say it? Uh, honey within the society. Okay, cultural level is roughly equivalent to, right? Well, not in 2030 yet, but you know, why not future proof it a bit? They have widespread, they have widespread smartphones, larger screens, and reinforced case. I mean, the bears, you know, they probably can, they'll be able to squeeze quite hard because they are muscular also. And, you know, the bears and biggle, so, you know, a large screen is probably good. High speed internet, electronics, interesting. Hydrogen vehicles. That was something that never take. That was a technology that never taken off. But it is one that's interesting. Mag level trains. Yeah, we have mag trains too. Social media, dating apps, skyscrapers, luminal timber and stone. One thing I will mention is that I did see something not too long ago a video about special wood that has been developed, and there is even that special wood that's being developed that's supposed to be as good as steel. And with that, um, with that there is one city that is actually going to use it to make a skyscraper of all things. So I guess maybe it shouldn't be out of the ordinary to believe that they have developed um, wood in a way, or processed wood in a way, to where it can be a replacement for steel. I don't get why they're still using stone, but stone's hard, strong, so yeah. Yeah. Mm, we need to read more. I am talking a whole bunch. I'm starting to get a bit lightheaded. Okay. Mad level trains between the major places. Advanced medical, including organ printing. I mean, that's cool. We don't really have that, but why not? This is, part of the prompt at the beginning, if you do not remember, is, excuse me, is that, I get something in my throat. Is that the different entries don't necessarily have to be completely scientific, and they can be realistic to a point. So that kind of stuff. Firearms exist but are heavily regulated, mostly since soldiers still prefer traditional melee. Interesting. Weapons supplemented by non-lethal sonic or knitting. Well, I'm a 2A person, so Oh well, space flight is in its infancy. To have walked on the moon using the joint human missions. Interesting. This actually reminds me a bit of a video that I watched recently, last night, that was about the reconstruction in Japan after World War II. Because apparently, part of the reconstruction of Japan after World War II by the Americans was showing how industrial, how superior industrially America is to the Japanese at the time. The video was simply, the video was specifically about electricity, and I did not know until I had watched the video, but apparently there are actually ships that are just giant power plants. And what happened was, after World War II and all the bombings that America had done to Japanese cities, the power grid naturally was not operational. So, one of the things that the Americans did when it came to Reconstruction is that they brought one of the power plant ships to the harbor, excuse me, so that it can be used to generate electricity for um, the city itself that it's connected to, I guess, but also um, to so that there's electricity to be used for the um, reconstruction of the cities. And the particular ship that was being focused on in the video was able to deliver 30 kilowatts. Yeah, 30 kilowatts, or was it 30 megawatts? I don't remember. But it was it was a power plant that could supply a whole city. And with the way these anthropomorphic bears are, I would not be surprised if asked that a lot of the technological advancement came about from finally being in contact with humans And from that, a explosion with the technological and industrial advancements within the technology that they are able to do. Um, and I think that would be an interesting question to ask and see how the AI goes about answering the question. Just as it has done so far, it just simply agrees and makes a entry about it. But even that, so the entries are extremely interesting, at least to me, and I love this collaborative type storytelling or making things. Okay, so let's go about and asking. Those are the questions I've already asked. Let's see what other things I need to ask. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Still sounds like it would hurt like hell, but this is fine. This is one that I need to ask, and this is another one I need to get some more information. Okay, so mm, mm. With the information that was given, I believe that there is some interesting clarification and history that can be given when it comes to the relationship between mm, mm, and humans. As you have said, it seems that particular individuals that take up a non-traditional lifestyle are ones that have came in contact with humans and along with that human ideals, which suggests that there is a lot of cultural exchange between both groups of people. From the cultural exchange, it seems that more liberal type ideals have been passed on, and some individuals have chosen that those individual ideals are the ones that one should try to emulate for a better life. I think that's the correct spelling. Grok is at least good with my spelling mistakes. Mm, okay, so I might end up putting this in a thing too to see what happens. Mm. Along with the cultural exchange, it seems that there also seems to be a technological exchange, although it is the question should be asked if it is a more one-sided technological exchange. The reason why I would ask if it's more one-sided is because they still have a very tribe and clan tribal and clan mentality when it comes to groups of individuals and the different cultural practices that they still do, even if some have adopted more of the humanistic ideals when it comes to existence. By that I mean atheism as an obvious example to that. um, One of the other things that I find interesting is the adoption of firearms has happened, but they fail to restrict that kind of tool to be used widely by the population, and even still choose to use melee weapons in its stead, at least when it comes to a way for crime prevention. I am curious if there is a particular reason as to why firearms are restricted, and along with that, if that has to do with any of the cultural exchange between humans, because it does seem that for some individuals, that may be a factor. A lot of the values that they hold very much have traditional and conservative values. So with that, the exception acceptance of non-traditional families is a bit odd, but you could also argue that it's simply the more libertarian ideal of they are not hurting me, not bothering me. Mm, mm, yeah, I think in a bit I'm going to have to go pee, so I will have it. I will ask it to do this, generate something, and then I will pause the recording. Excuse me. I will pause the recording and go from there. So there will be a jump cut very soon. Okay. Mm. Oh, mm, mm. Excuse me. Mm. We'll wait until that thing's done, and then we'll go about doing. I mean, then I'll go to the bathroom. Okay. I am going to pause the recording, and I am going to go pee. Alrighty, I am back from tending to myself a bit. So let's read some of this. And I think there are some other questions that I need to ask that I didn't quite think about. So I will jot one of them down. Because of the exchange of ideals and cultures between cultures with humans, I would also imagine that there is some humans that may have immigrated to this place as well. I say that because for humans to be able to help them go to their own moon, there must be humans stationed nearby somewhere so that they would be able to help with the development of spaceflight to do so. Mm. Along with that, and human ideals spreading to some individuals, I am curious as to what human ideals may truly clash with the ideals that the majority hold. Now we're going to read. Now we're going to read what was. Excuse me. I'll put it. Okay. So you're zoned in on the single most politically charged topic in the last 120 years. Contact with. Oh, so they have been. Oh, wow. Um, no, this might be good. Mm. Since it seems that the two groups have been with communication with each other for what you say 120 years now, having a mm, mm, what to read? I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so my uh, large-scale peaceful contact began in the human year 1903. So humans are more technically and logically advanced than what we was. A joint Norwegian, Norwegian expedition. I don't know the relationship between these two countries, so I don't know if they actually would end up doing that. Also, 1903, uh, I was going to say, was the Soviet Union around? But I don't know. I know it ended the year I was born, which was 1991, but I don't know when the Soviet Union technically started. Stumbled into Northern Trade Post within 50 years, rail lines, radio, and limited migration linked to two species. The exchange has never been equal. Humans bought steel, electricity, modern medicine, firearms, and mass media. Right. uh, Offered advanced timber, Arctic cold engineering, and global something. But the net flow of technology and ideals has always been heavily from humans towards them. Most clans now use human designed smartphones and operating systems, slightly scaled up, while maintaining their own social networks and search engines in that script. Okay, that's funny. Firearm policies and the clan law. This was one I was kind of curious about. Firearms are legal, placed under the ancient clan law. A bear's natural weapon, teeth and claws, are considered sacred and primary. Interesting. Lethal projectile weapons may not only be owned by actual military, may only be owned by actual military, certain elite police or licensed hunters, during seasons, and even then only with a shaman-based permit. Okay, the registration began long. The restriction began long before human contact as a way to prevent blood feuds. I see. I mean, you can kill a lot of people with a gun. I'm not going to lie about that. You can do the same with a crossbow. After humans introduced rifles in 1920, several devastating, horrible duels. Ah, I see. Ran councils to keep the old laws and simple. Any weapon that kills from farther than a bear can smell. Okay. Excuse me. Most urban police use capsule air net launchers, sonic stunners, and the two streams. Okay. Mm. Society described itself as following two streams that strengthen the river. Sure. Old stream, land loyalty, shaman practices, and the new stream, human-derived idealism, individualism, excuse me, atheism, fashion, rapine, and sexual liberation. A majority of bears identify as old way, leaning traditionalists, yet most also accept that certain new stream ideals, universal education, same-sex bonding, democracy, and city councils make the clan stronger overall. I don't know about that one, but the other ones make sense. This produces the seemingly paradoxical mix of conservatism in public life with relaxed attitudes towards private consensual behaviors. Acceptance of non-traditional bonds, a libertarian exceptions or explanation. I don't know if that's right. The near universal acceptance of, I see, uh, predates human contact by centuries, of course, and rests on a single old star. Proverbs the hive thrives on many kinds of honey, so long has so long as no bees is forced into the comb. As long as a bonding produces harmony, contributes to the clan, or at least does not weaken it, the community considers it no one else's concern. Human liberal philosophy simply gave modern bears new vocabulary for something their ancestors already. Okay, that's an interesting way to say it. Have to rewrite. Yep, it's fine. Oh, my head's getting dizzy. Okay, so. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so. Mm, Integrated. Nope, nope. Okay, let's go back through this and see if there's anything I need to clarify, because for the most part it seems fine. So I guess I need to figure out some new things to say. And I do like some of the explanations. They are very interesting. Two streams, philosophy, acceptance of non-traditional. Okay, so mm, mm, mm. I guess now some more interesting questions need to be asked about the relationship between mm, and humans, as what has been mentioned before. it seems that many use human-like technology, but redesigned so that it is more easy for to use. That also means that in some places it may be a bit difficult for a human to adapt to living within that area. Mm. With the assumption that there are immigrants, human, that have established themselves within the 120 years, 120 years of human contact. It needs to be asked as to the relationships that are formed between these two unique groups of individuals. One question that needs to be asked is oh, that needs to be asked is, are there individuals that seem to have a irrational hatred towards the humans that have started to humans? By that I mean in the sense that they are what we would call racist towards them for being humans, having prejudice that may not be realistic, and placing blame upon them when particular things may happen when that blame when the blame placed upon the group, humans as a whole, does not make any logical sense. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, let's ask these. I have a feeling that I may need to change the date for the first contact thing, just so that it makes more sense. Because at least with the human side of this, they are more sci-fi, while the anthropomorphic bears are more modern day. And but with that, they have not been able to catch up yet with where humans are. But apparently, well, humans have space travel and have been able to make it to this planet where these anthropomorphic bears are. Mm. Okay, so uh, right, so let's see how this is. Human immigration and permanent residence. Approximately that many humans live full-time within the clan territories, mostly in the largest ports and capital cities. Makes sense. They are legally classified as guestkin. That sounds cool. With full civil rights after a 5-year residential and language requirement. So they don't speak what would be considered human language, although I guess that, you know, makes sense. Most workers are engineers, physicists, diplomats, translators, or run special import businesses. Residents districts in big cities have mixed height buildings, lower human scale floors with normal doors, upper floors with more big ceilings. For neighbors, human children attend grand schools, children learn human history, and these languages as second languages. I see. I mean, with they have English here twice. They he did. He has English there. Well, I say he, but Rock there and there. Well, I feel like that if there's any languages, it would be like Norwegian, whatever that is, and Russian. Would be the other two languages. So I might change that eventually. But now I know. I will probably do that on my own. Human space cooperation. The first two I worked on the moon. Oh, right. I should have asked about the name of the moon, the natural satellites of the planet. NASA. That's the Bear Clan thing. Mission launched from a human-built pad. That's a city. Primary space center is now there. It feels like this has to do with Russian, with 40% human staff, prominent human families, medical teams, the children live year round, and the city built primarily underground. That's cold. Ideals that actually clash. The deepest undergoing tensions are extreme human style individualism. I own nothing to nobody. Interesting. Direct contrast to clan duty that every bear is raised with. Human something and obsession with written contracts and oil over oil honor. I see. That makes sense. Factory farming and individual meat productions. Find a concept. I see. Morally repulsive, even though they themselves eat meat. So they're not PETA. That's good, because PETA's bad. Human youth culture that celebrates early independence, moving out at 18. It has been already discussed that they are not adults until anywhere from 25 to 30, while, yep, are expected to live with the parents until 30. These principle more day-to-day factions than sexual or religious ever. Okay. Romantic, and I was going to ask about that, but I wanted to ask about it as its own question, but I guess I'll get more clarification as to it. Um, Human couplings, interspecies dating, romantic sexual relationships between them are legal. I mean, why wouldn't that be? Socially accepted in cities and quietly tolerated in most worlds. They remain uncommon because of size difference and lifespan, but mixed spawn receive the same legal protections and shaman blessings. Fertility is impossible without advanced which is available but expensive. There were some questions that need to be asked that are important for those that, well, like the ideal of a warm, furry companion. But first, some little things. I do think there's one entry that I need to read. With the mention of a moon landing, that means that there is a satellite, assumed to be natural, that is orbiting around the planet. With that, it needs to be asked, what is the name of this moon? And is there more than one natural satellite that is orbiting the planet? If there is more than one natural satellite, then I am curious as to how that affects the weather of this particular planet. Uh, hmm, I will read this one in a bit, but let's do with this one. So, when it comes to the romantic relationships between these two kinds of people, one thing that simply needs to be asked is how compatible their bodies may be when it comes to committing sexual acts with one another. At least when it comes between human men and female. mm, I believe many would assume that that is extremely compatible, but the pleasure both may derive from it would be different, because without knowing the size of a pussy, there is no way of knowing how well the female sex organ of a man's human man's penis fits within there. Along with that, the flip side is male having sex with female humans and knowing how well those sex organs end up fitting together. Mhm. Because there is such a size difference between the two species, it seems that many positions can still be done, but maybe slightly modified so that things actually go together. Mm. Mm. Ah. No. Mm. Mm. bare hand traditional movement more than, yep, about open prejudice against humans, blaming them for softening the plans with technology, atheism, and individualism. They associate total repulsion. I don't think I read that right. Of the guestkin, destruction of human-made devices, and return to pre-contact ways. Most players consider them embarrassing extremists, but their allies still draw hundreds in remote places, occasionally turn violent. Urban youth mock them with the nickname moss eaters. That's funny. Daily life between species, mixed offspring, soft and anti-prejudiced. Well, mm, because there has been a span of 120 years of human and relations with one another, some other questions about how the relationships between the two can be asked. Just as there are those that are prejudiced against humans, I am curious about groups that have an unhealthy or extreme bias towards humans. Because there has been a time frame of 120 years, there can also be the assumption that there could be a small group of humans that, just as the bare hand, and maybe even be considered native to the planet, with being born there, may still harbor have prejudice against the, or just like the bare hand, on logical reasons. For illogical reasons. Mm-hmm. I need to see how I worded that before. Um, oh, irrational. That's what I was looking for. Having hmm, Miss Oxspring. I feel like I'm starting to get down to the wire where I don't know what other things to ask. Mm, 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 mm. 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 Ah. Ah. Okay. So let's see what's here. The moon. Wow, that just sounds like Luna or similar to it. That's a unique name, I think. Rust colored. They're big. Ugh. Mm. Oh, I don't know if that is right, but we're just trying to make something that's fun to use. Twilight eyes, she calls every and I consider the most romantic and magical. Oh, I get it. That's cute. So, things that people might be more interested of because, uh, furries exist, and this is an anthropomorphic bear. So, this is human man and female are usually larger and possess larger fangs, typically depths of highly elastic. This comfortably but provides only mild direct stimulation to the she-bear. Most couples therefore rely heavily on, oh interesting, and manual stimulation, with the human using both hands and forearms, large toys, and traditional tribalism and grinding. She-bears report the physical intimacy and stamina difference as a primary source of pleasure rather than being filled and stretched. Now, the other way around. Adults have that are that size with mounts and knots. Just sounds like a dog. Yeah, it just sounds like a dog. Okay. On modified penetration intercourse with a human is medically risky. Okay. I guess it's too thick and usually impossible without injuries. Couples who engage in penetration use lubrication, gradual stretching over months or years, custom silicones that limit death, or surgical modifications is almost never performed due to cultural taboos on altering penis modifications. Most such couples favor oil, just like that one. Anal with the human male receiving, or I see. I mentioned pegging. I was not expecting pegging to be mentioned. I think I know somebody that knows a lot about pegging. Or was it something else? I don't remember which one it was. Okay, so common positions and aids for mixed couples. I see the cradle. Interspecies positions, mixed couples. Popular adaptations include the cradle. The she-bear lays on her back or side, where the human stimulates her with the tongue or twice or thrown. Human sits on the she-bear's lap, facing her for grinding. The bridge. Human, woman on top of the guy with a limousine, pillow, and heavy furniture for specifically made bonding bridges that put both partners at compatible heights. Here we are. Oh, let me take a bit and find something to watch. I'll watch this, or at least listen to it. Pro-human extremist. A small counter movement of youths, never more than that makes sense, fetishize human culture to an unhealthy degree, legally change their surnames to human style ones, interesting, undergo undergo minor cosmetic surgery to appear smaller, exclusively date humans, and publicly denounce glam traditions as barbaric. They are mocked by mainstream as honey arts, interesting, and occasionally face social uh, thrown out, but are protected by free speech. That's good that they have free speech. Second and third generation anti-bear human nihilist. I think I read that right. Okay, so among them, a few thousand planet-born descents have formed nihilist groups that view them as beasts who stole the future colonists. Interesting. They push for human-only districts and restrictions on mixed marriage. The excuse me. Their influence is something, and they are monitored by clan security service, but something hate incidents do occur. Makes sense. All six are okay. So we already know about the religion. It's a shamanistic one. As far as the offspring thing, I'm not really too concerned about that. I imagine somebody else would be interested in it. Um, but I think that might be more interesting to see if somebody wants to go that way with either adding to this or if they happen to make a character sheet that uses this. I am curious as to how they may go about um, how they may go about. I mean, if they may interject and put in that that there is a baby of some sort, and let the LLM decide from there or something like that. Are there any other questions? I want to ask. I want to get more in depth, but I don't know how. I don't know what questions I need to ask. I I honestly don't know. I really might have to think for a bit. Because a lot of this stuff is already what um I don't know. I might be done. Mm, 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 mm. I might have to declare that I'm done for now. Maybe maybe something will come back and I'll randomly add a part to this. But I think for the most part, I don't think there's anything more I can add. So I guess I just need to now ask that um, it compiles all of this into a text file for me to then copy and paste into a file. I mean, into the thing for Silly Tavern for the lorebook, and then post it to where I like to do this stuff. Okay, so let's ask it to get. Okay, I don't know as to what other questions to ask, so now I think it's time to compile all of the different entries into a text file that I would be able to save onto my computer. So, in a bit, it should make a text file. Mm. Well, that's not quite the way I wanted it do it, but it's fine. I have to open up a world thingy and go from there. World pad, and then just copy the thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that, but we'll go with this. No, I'll just copy and paste it in a bit. Uh, okay, good. And yeah, I think everything is here. Oh, did it get everything? Alrighty. Now I think I just simply need to human bigots born on the. Okay, so I will copy this into a Word document and then go from there. I might, one of the things I am thinking about doing, since I have been playing with Notebook LM, I might give this to Notebook LM and if see if I'm excuse me, give this to Notebook LM and then see what kind of what's it called? Let's see what kind of audio overview it might end up making, which I think will be I think that would be fun. Um right. We'll just save it as a rich thingy. Um we'll save it here because I really want to make sure that I have this. There. That. And then I can take that out, do that forward, do that there, and do that. So, I guess I will start recording this at the moment, and then I will record a outro for this, and go from there. I hope that you enjoyed my back and forth with Grok when it came to making the lorebook of the anthropomorphic bear people. And with that, if it is something that you are interested in, I can try and do some more stuff like this. I yapped quite a bit while I was doing it, and I had fun yapping about it. It was a great way for me to have something that I can use to help me talk, um, essentially. So, with that, if you enjoyed it, then please tell me a good place where you believe may be best to. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. But what I was going to go on is that, as I had said at the beginning, I am thinking about giving the text file to Notebook LM, excuse me, and then from there, having it generate a audio overview and seeing how it goes about doing that. And if that is something that people are interested in, I would like suggestions as to where I may be able to put it. That would be good for people to find. It is generating an audio file. So, as far as I know, AudioPlay is a place that specializes in audio stuff. But I can also post it here on YouTube. But I would definitely have to do some stuff so it's not just listening to the audio. And for that, I would definitely need suggestions as to what I should do to make it interesting for people to watch and listen to it. So, with that, if you have any comments that you want to give, please go ahead and do it, even if they happen to be not the greatest. But I am always happy for criticism as long as it's not criticism to be, mean. But I am always happy for criticism, suggestions, and whatnot. And so, with that, as I always say, regardless of the time of day that it is for you, either be noon, morning, or night, I hope that you are having a good time. And with that, I bid you adieu.